I would like to welcome our graduates and their families to the Brown Department of Psychiatry and Human Behavior's 45th Annual Graduation Celebration. We wish we could be together to celebrate your accomplishments as friends and colleagues. But truthfully, a graduation ceremony is soon forgotten. What is not forgotten is the fact that you will be moving on from what must seem like interminable years of education to your first real job, the time when you begin to take charge of your own life. It's when you get to decide what's important to you and the values you want to live by. Part of your training experience has been learning that the faculty you have looked up to don't have all the answers. Now, the responsibility for making the world a better place has shifted to you. We have not faced a challenge that has altered our lives like COVID-19 since World War II. With the U.S. death toll over 100,000 in just 3 months and the unemployment rate approaching 20%, it is clear that the greatest country on earth can be humbled by a single strand of RNA. We are reminded of the frailty of human existence as well as our place in the larger scheme of things. As behavioral health care professionals, we will play an essential role in helping others get through this period of uncertainty and adversity. Our expertise in managing stress, sharing loss and grief with others, and building resilience will be called on frequently in the coming months and years. Going forward, your ability to adapt to a rapidly changing environment will be tested. There is no more important mission of our department than to train the next generation of psychologists and psychiatrists. Each of you has benefited from the rich collegial interactions you have formed with fellow interns, postdoctoral fellows, and residents. The relationships you have made as a trainee at Brown will be among the most important you will develop during your entire professional careers. You are now part of a distinguished group of graduates that represent the Brown Department of Psychiatry and Human Behavior. As you prepare to move forward to new positions and roles, we hope that your time at Brown has been formative in developing your character and values, as well as your knowledge and experience. In times like these, we are forced to reassess our values and where we can continue to find meaning in our work and in our relationships. I hope that each of you has found mentors at Brown who will inspire you to instill hope in your patients, and that you will strive to treat each patient and their family as you would like to be treated. I hope that you decide to ground yourself in values that last, like honesty, hard work, responsibility, fairness, generosity of spirit. For those of you who will be staying in Rhode Island, we look forward to you joining us as colleagues. For those of you who are leaving Rhode Island, we are certain you will make Brown University and our department proud of your accomplishments. Over the next 30 years, you will contribute to a remarkable transformation in the way we conceptualize and treat mental illness. I hope that each of you will find a lifetime of meaningful work in helping others recover from mental illness. I know I speak for the entire faculty in acknowledging that each and every one of you has already achieved distinction by representing our department's mission of excellence in clinical care, research, education, community service, and patient advocacy. Congratulations to the graduates of 2020 and their families. May safe journeys and good fortune lie ahead for each of you, wherever your path may lead.
I am thrilled to present Dr. Olivares with the Outstanding Teaching Award. Everyone who has worked with him knows that he is exceptional. We get to work with him on the inpatient unit, and he is an astute psychopharmacologist and therapist. He takes the time to explain his reasoning and is always open to trying new approaches based on current evidence. Dr. Olivares' teaching extends beyond his clinical excellence in traditional teaching roles. He is also very intentional about teaching you to care for the entire unit, including managing the unit staff and managing your own countertransference. However, I think the most important lesson that Dr. Olivares imparts every day is his commitment to treating his patients in the way that we would want our own family to be treated. On the first day he meets a patient, he sincerely tells them that he will treat them with dignity and respect, and then he proceeds to do exactly that. Working with Dr. Olivares reminds you about why you wanted to be a doctor, and we are delighted to recognize his excellent teaching and outstanding character.
I am entirely sure that Dr. Joseph Friedman does not have room on his CV for any further accolades. For decades, this neurologist has been a nationally and internationally recognized expert in movement disorders, has authored over 400 publications, has been involved in many of the instrumental clinical trials that have advanced this field, and has made many intentional steps to develop a clinical staff, including doctors, nurses, and trainees alike, to be able to recognize and treat patients suffering from Parkinson's disease. Despite Dr. Friedman's celebrity, he is a relentlessly devoted educator, accepting trainees from neurology, psychiatry, and geriatric psychiatry, among others, onto his service. He has an incredible gift of making nearly every moment a teaching moment, while effortlessly balancing a busy patient schedule and letting his trainees benefit from both observation and autonomy. Throughout my rotation with Dr. Friedman, I learned a fair bit about psychiatry, more about neurology, and most about the art of doctoring. On behalf of the Geriatric Psychiatry Fellowship Program, this year's Geriatric Psychiatry Excellence in Teaching Award is deservingly awarded to Dr. Joseph Friedman. Dr. Friedman, thank you for your service.
It is my honor to present the Henrietta Leonard Award in Child Psychiatry to Dr. Elizabeth Lowenhaupt. I could spend hours listing off Dr. L's work and accomplishments, like working as the medical and psychiatric director of the Rhode Island Training School, creating a mental health home for children involved in juvenile justice and child welfare, working on countless national projects and committees. And you would be impressed by her fierce dedication to improving children's lives and the systems that shape them. And she would be embarrassed because she's extremely humble and always wants to give most of the credit to the teams that she has built. But I want to make sure you know what an amazing educator she is. This is Dr. Lowenhaupt's final year as Associate Program Director of our Child Psychiatry and Triple Board programs. And in the last 12 years, she has made an indelible mark on the culture and teaching within both. She has helped to reinvigorate didactic teaching, created a robust and unique child forensics rotation, made sure that we have the most dedicated supervisors and best clinic structure in which to learn from our patients. She is always available to talk through difficult patient situations or heartbreaking personal ones. On a personal note, she has been my mentor for the last 9 years and has shaped the doctor and person I am in ways I'm only beginning to realize. Her passion for and fierce dedication to helping some of the most vulnerable children is inspiring, as is her commitment to bringing learners from all disciplines along with her in that work. We are lucky to get to continue to work with her and witness the change that she creates.
On the final day of my rotation at the OCD partial program, which happened to be Halloween, Dr. Gold showed up in a full regalia Snow White costume. I had grown to expect this level of commitment from Dr. Gold, but was unsure what Gloria Hahn, a fellow psychology resident and newcomer to the rotation, would make of this. It turns out that Gloria and I have since reflected on our mutual feeling that Dr. Gold's Snow White costume is emblematic of her spirit, enthusiasm, and intentionality. Much like her Snow White costume, Dr. Gold does most things all the way, with extreme passion, dedication, and warmth. Her commitment to teaching and supervising is no exception. Before providing me with training in DBT, Dr. Gold asked for me to commit to being all in, which I considered thoughtfully and then agreed wholeheartedly, knowing that I could not be in better hands. In discussing our desire to nominate Dr. Gold for this award and our overwhelming gratitude for the opportunity to learn from her, Gloria and I identified a shared perspective that Dr. Gold generously shares her expertise to complement her trainee's growth, while also remaining open and eager to learn from us as well. In brief, Dr. Gold's effusive energy and enthusiasm are infectious and merit recognition. It is my absolute honor and privilege to announce this year's winner of the Toy Caldwell Colbert Excellence in Teaching Award to a colleague and dear friend, Dr. Andrea Gold.
Good afternoon. My name is Yossi Burlow. I'm one of the graduating residents, and today it is my distinct honor to be presenting this year's winner of the Psychiatry Research Mentor Award. Each year, the psychiatry residents choose to recognize a faculty member who exhibits outstanding research mentorship. This year's winner has been the primary research mentor for over a dozen medical students, residents, and junior faculty here at Brown. He is well known to the residents for his neuroscience lectures, which include building brains out of colored Play-Doh to learn neuroanatomy, and learning about an unfortunate reaction to spoiled kimchi in his lecture on PTSD. The research residents know him as the co-director of the NIMH-sponsored research training program, and as one of his mentees in this program, I'm especially excited to be announcing him for this award. So please join me in congratulating this year's winner of the Research Mentor Award, Dr. Noah Phillip.
It is my absolute honor to present the Excellent Mentor Award to Dr. Nicole Nugent. I nominated Dr. Nugent because she is an inspiring trauma researcher. Her research questions are incredibly thoughtful and innovative. When I first studied in her lab, it took a really good month for me to fully understand her 2-hour studies. And I'm a pretty smart woman, just ask my mom. But most of all, I appreciate her commitment to paving the way for women and minorities in science. While inviting me to join her research team, she not only created ways for me to work alongside experts in the area, but she allowed others to engage in my interests and research ideas. I see this as an exemplary quality, especially in this time where we desperately need to listen and learn from each other. Without further ado, please join me in thanking Dr. Nugent.
We have now come to the final award on the program, the 2020 Faculty Mentor Award winner. This award goes annually to an individual who exemplifies exceptional mentorship of junior full-time and clinical faculty. We have many senior faculty who are qualified for this award, and the competition is always stiff. This year's award goes to an individual who, though short of stature, is a true powerhouse, an extreme athlete who has shown the perseverance to finish many long cross-country ski and biking events, as well as the perseverance to obtain continuous NIH funding over the past 20 years. She was recently promoted to full professor. She co-runs a nationally acclaimed integrated clinical research program. Following in the footsteps of her own mentor, Dr. Henrietta Leonard, she is respected and admired by her colleagues, patients, and trainees. This year's award goes to Dr. Jen Freeman. Congratulations, Jen. Henrietta would have been proud of her own mentee's accomplishments. Jen and Abby Garcia are 2020 and 2019 winners for carrying on her legacy. That concludes this portion of the program this evening. You will now move to your individual training directors' virtual programs. Once again, I would like to congratulate all of our graduates and their families on their wonderful accomplishments.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2020 Child and Adolescent Psychiatry and Triple Board graduation. As we've just heard, this has been a most memorable year, and we're very pleased to celebrate our graduates who will be proceeding on into their careers, knowing that they have what it takes to be successful no matter what's thrown at them. All of our graduates will remember the past few months due to the immense stress and loss from the pandemic, and due to witnessing the country's response to social injustice in ways never seen before. I'll remember this group of graduates for their adaptability, teamwork, creativity, extreme dedication, and courage. As a healthcare system, we owe them a huge thank you for stepping up to help ensure the children, adolescents, and their families were able to access care in the most stressful and restrictive settings. And they did this and continued to be laser focused on their training. We've all learned to love, with capital letters and quotes, Zoom, and we have appreciated the opportunity to participate in seminars along with babies, toddlers, big kids, puppies, cats, husbands, and soon-to-be fathers-in-law. That said, I look forward to future years when we can shake hands, high five, and maybe even give the occasional bear hug. So I want to also thank quite a few people. I want to acknowledge the parents, grandparents, spouses, significant others, and kids who may be listening in. I know there's a lot of kids already. Training in Child and Adolescent Psychiatry Fellowship and in the triple board program can be very taxing at times. The work sometimes requires very long hours, and even when it doesn't, the work is often never far away, as we learn to manage our own emotions around working with kids and families suffering from severe trauma, loss, or early onset mental illness. I would add that as a field, we have made huge strides in helping our residents and fellows who appreciate the need to take care of themselves and each other. Our programs have made substantial progress in developing wellness programs this year, thanks to several of our graduates. I also want to acknowledge and thank our training team, including Barbara O'Rourke, Deb Gott, Missy Tatum, our program coordinators, our outstanding and dedicated faculty, many of whom you'll be meeting later, our very supportive academic and hospital leaders, Steve Rasmussen, Larry Brown, and Henry Sachs, and then especially our Associate Program Director, Elizabeth Lowenhaupt, who has been critical to the success of our programs. 2020, will always be the year of the pandemic, but also be the year of transitions for our programs. This year, several very important people to our education mission will be leaving their current roles for new beginnings elsewhere. Barbara O'Rourke will be retiring at the end of the month after over 5 years working as our program coordinator. Barbara is one of the nicest persons you will meet, and she is dedicated to ensuring that our residents have what they need. She has been in relentless pursuit of resident responses to her emails, and in the end, always gets her answers. Elizabeth and I have appreciated her unflappable demeanor, especially in the face of incessant demands of our very busy training calendar year. We wish her well in retirement and look forward to appropriately sending her off in the near future. Another person who's leaving this year is Doug Vernon, who is a volunteer faculty who has created and implemented a wellness group several years ago that he calls Reconsidering Certainties. He's also fully retiring this year, and he's very active in retirement. To say that he's been a critical component of our residents' training during their time in child psychiatry is an understatement. In the first year, he helps them fully embrace their child and adolescent psychiatry identities. Then in the final year of training, guides them through all of the emotions and practicalities related to transitioning to a spectrum of practices across the country. Doug is a true Renaissance man whose life experiences, including sailing around the world for 6 years straight, and professional life greatly enhanced the education of all those who had the opportunity to work with him. And finally, Elizabeth Lowenhaupt, who we've just heard many wonderful things about, and she got this well-deserved honor from Henrietta Leonard. And that's very appropriate that they selected her for that very prestigious award. Elizabeth is transitioning to other professional leadership opportunities in our division, specifically in juvenile justice and foster care in the coming year. She's an exceedingly talented person and has been so since her taking on this role in 2008. Her impact on the structure, organization, and functioning of our programs has been immense, including pushing for and organizing several new components of our program. You can think QUIPs or Protected Mondays for psychotherapy as two of her more important legacies. She's held numerous leadership positions in the past decade, both in the medical school, and in the state level, including being president of the National Regional Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. As a triple board graduate, she's been integral part of the departments of pediatrics and psychiatry. She's passionate about teaching, bringing energy and creativity to all that she does. We look forward to working with her in our many professional ways in the future, and we're all very fortunate that she will be remaining as a senior leader in our division. We also plan to have a face-to-face or mask-to-mask event later in the summer to properly send all of them off. Then quickly, we have two new roles. Dr. Brannon, who will be taking over as Assistant Program Director. She's a graduate of Stanford and UC Davis College of Medicine. Was a chief resident and triple board, and has a very long track record of success in education and with graduate students, medical students, residents, fellows, and pediatricians from across the state. She's been broadly recognized professionally with numerous prestigious awards for excellence, including many for teaching. Brady Case is our other Assistant Program Director who will be taking over in the realm of research. This position will focus on academic advancement in our training programs. He is a graduate of Harvard Medical School, NYU General Psychiatry Residency, and Brown Child and Adolescent Psychiatry Fellowship. And as you know, is the medical director of the Bradley Pediatric Anxiety Research Center and OCD programs. He's author of numerous publications dealing with psychiatric health services and has been recognized numerous times for his exemplary contributions as a supervisor and a very fun leader of Journal Club. We're very excited to have both of them in their new roles. I'm going to turn this over to Elizabeth for a second.
Thank you, everyone. I just wanted to take a minute to congratulate our graduates. You guys are amazing. To thank you all for this really meaningful award. 13 years ago right now, Dr. Leonard, my program director, was watching and supporting me as I graduated. I learned so much from her and also from Dr. Hunt. And what I wish for all of you as you start your careers is that you have as much fun doing your job every day, that you find meaningful work even when it's annoying or irritating or frustrating or challenging, that you have colleagues who are as supportive and warm and brilliant as all of you, that you work with trainees who keep you on your toes all the time and inspire you constantly. And finally, that you have bosses like Jeff. I think all of you have known over the past 2 to 5 years how special and unique he is. He won a National ACAP Teaching Award this year. And if you don't have a boss like him, which unfortunately most of you may not, Beth and Brady, you're in good hands. Please look for that, seek it out. You will find mentors like that, people who trust you to try new things, people who support you, people who listen to what's most important to you and helps you grow. So thank you so much, Dr. Hunt, for doing that for me and for all of our graduates over the years.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And so now we have another part that is always very special and relished. We'll have our division director, Dr. Brown, who's going to provide us with, I keep saying, words of wisdom and inspiration. I hope that doesn't put too much pressure on him, but that's what we're expecting. So on to you, Larry.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be with you this afternoon, you, the graduates, and your families. This is a time to celebrate and also to reflect on the numerous challenges that have been faced by you, by all of us in the hospital and our society. COVID-19, the turmoil over racial injustice, the Me Too movement, it's been a lot. And it's all added to the chronic stress of inadequate funding for healthcare and inadequate social supports. We are very aware that during times of stress, it's the children and families who suffer the most. Even before this turbulent time, we knew that 20% of youth have a psychiatric disorder. Suicide is the second cause of death in teens. And less than half of those who need treatment get it, especially if they are of color and living in poverty. So how can we possibly celebrate during these turbulent times? Well, there's never been more of a need for child and adolescent psychiatrists than now. And as psychiatrists, we know that stress lays bare the fault lines of any system, whether it's individuals, families, or organizations. We generally aren't at our best when we're severely stressed. Similarly, our stress society has revealed its long-standing injustice and unresolved inequities. But as child and adolescent psychiatrists, we know that these raw moments create new opportunities for change and growth. So I celebrate the fact that you're going forward to help make those changes happen for children and families in need. And I'm proud that you're going to face these challenges knowledgeable about all the latest evidence-based interventions and aware of the explosion of research that offers promise for the future. Much of the exciting research done here addresses critical topics, such as biological impact of trauma and severe stress, the influence of genetics, the root causes of health disparities, and our research is developing new prevention and integrated treatment programs to reduce stress, PTSD, depression, and anxiety. I'm proud that you, as you interact with patients, trainees, colleagues, and systems, that you do so knowing that our profession at its core is based on human relationships. And I know that you will act with compassion and also be confrontational when needed, because both are needed. Acts of compassion towards our fellow humans and acts of confrontation to change unhealthy, harmful behaviors and beliefs. I'm also very proud that you've been an integral part of a healthcare system that's been able to continue clinical services uninterrupted for the past 3.5 months. The volume of mental health care hasn't gone down. It's even increased more than we would have predicted. And as you know, Bradley has this enormous range of services from inpatient, outpatient, partial, residential, community programs, treating youth of all ages and all disorders. And you've been an essential part of reimagining care with telemedicine and other online digital technologies that's allowed us to continue. The incredible progress in telemedicine is just one of the positive changes that will continue past the COVID pandemic. I'm also proud that you've joined in advocacy efforts. I want to especially acknowledge Dr. Lowenhout, who's been a tireless mental health advocate. She and others in our division and our regional organization have spent years working to inform the policies of our state government and the Department of Children, Family, Youth, and Families. This work has resulted in new mental health consultation services for community pediatricians, better care for suicidal adolescents, and better treatment of youth in the state juvenile justice system. These efforts are a priority for us. They will continue and they will expand. As an academic medical center, we have to have quality clinical care. We have to do excellent research. But our primary mission is training you, the future leaders of child and adolescent psychiatry. You may not have always felt it given the busy pace of work and the recent turmoil, but that's why we work here. And as much as you've learned, we have learned and gained from you. You've influenced us in our training programs. As proud as we are of you today, know that we're going to continue to be proud of all your future accomplishments and probably shamelessly take credit for all of your great works. But seriously, you are now the next generation, and you're soon going to be the leaders. So continue to be inquisitive, be scientific, learn from everything that you do. It's going to be your job to train the next generation, so pay it forward. Lastly, I'm proud that you recognize the importance of families as a source of occasional frustration, but also a source of strength and resilience. Families give us a chance to see ourselves and to grow, to make life better for everyone. So in this spirit, please remember that you will always be part of the Brown family. And I hope to see you at what amounts to our family reunion, which is the annual ACAP meeting. So to you, the graduates and your families, I raise my glass, toast your accomplishments, and joyfully anticipate your future. Congratulations. Thanks.
Thank you, Larry. Cheers.
Cheers to all of you guys. We're having champagne that you all got in your little bags here. So now we're going to continue with the program and actually get to the heart of why we're all here on Zoom, is to present the diplomas to our stellar graduates. So each mentor will have 3 to 5 minutes to describe, and with some perspective about their mentees. Then we'll move to the next person. So we're going to be doing both the Child and Adolescent Psychiatry Fellowship graduates and then followed by the Triple Board graduates. So I'd ask that each of the mentors, as they come up and are asked to turn on their video, just say a sentence about who you are, where you work, and then you can proceed. So with that, we'll start with Dr. Brannon.
Hi, everybody. I am Beth Brannon. I'm a child psychiatrist, and I work in intensive program for OCD and related disorders. And I'm excited to be the new assistant program director. Okay. There we go. There's my girl. So I get the distinct pleasure of talking about Kristen's story, who I have been obscenely lucky enough to supervise for the last 2 years as her core supervisor. And truly, all that really needs to be said about Kristen is that should she ever decide that the emotional and cognitive toll of being a child psychiatrist is too much, she's got an incredibly bright future in owning a bread store somewhere in Vermont. Seriously, Kristen makes the most beautiful, delicious, and inventive loaves of sourdough bread that you will ever see or eat. They are actually stuff of legend throughout the fellowship. She sacrifices her own well-being to do this even. Earlier this spring, amidst the pandemic, she dropped, in a socially distant, appropriate way, she dropped off to me a loaf of what was called nettle and ale bread that required her to pick individual stinging nettles off a plant to put in the bread, along with a bottle of beer. As she drove away, I initially thought, after she told me how she made the bread, that her choosing to give me that particular loaf was perhaps a commentary on how she felt about our supervision together, namely that it stung so much it drove her to drink. But alas, when I ate it, the nettles were tender once baked into the bread, and the alcohol had evaporated and just left a delicious taste. So that's what I'm taking away, she thought our supervision was like. At least that's my reframe, and I'm sticking to it, so no one argue, please. In all seriousness, though, supervising Kristen over these past 2 years has been truly one of the most rewarding experiences I've had in my years in medical education. Those who have the privilege of knowing her are already aware that she's truly a gem of a human. She's a light. She's an excellent child psychiatrist, and hopefully by now she can believe that too. Kristen shared with me early on that her interest in child psychiatry was particularly strong with younger children, and she came into fellowship passionate about learning how to treat children who experience trauma and adverse life events as early as possible to help prevent more maladaptive processes being developed. While Kristen excelled in all of her clinical rotations, it was so clear to all of us, and especially me, that her heart and soul reached for and were filled up by working with young children. To that end, it's been a true pleasure to supervise Kristen in her weekly therapy with a 6-year-old boy and his family for the past year. Her deep appreciation for this young boy and his lived experience and internal world is something to behold. She will likely downplay to others the significance she's had in his life, but I will tell you, her family and friends and colleagues, that her work with him has undoubtedly altered the course of his childhood. The connection he clearly has with her and the space she has created for him to feel his feelings and process his traumas have been essential to his ongoing recovery. One of the things about young children that Kristen and I both share a love for, but can be disarming to some, is their vulnerability and their willingness to be their authentic selves, unaware of or uncaring about outside judgment. But that changes somewhere along the line, and by adulthood, most of us know we aren't so great at that. But during our supervision together, Kristen bravely allowed herself to be vulnerable, to self-reflect, to feel hard feelings and think hard thoughts, to examine her reactions and challenge her assumptions and judgments, which were usually of herself, and to cultivate her identity as a competent, dedicated child psychiatrist as being a true part of her authentic self, in addition to her role as a wife, an older sister, a daughter, a friend, and social chair of every group she's ever been a part of. Kristen is a community builder, an includer, and everyone in this fellowship has benefited from that. My hope for you in this next phase of your career, Kristen, is that you can continue to practice being your authentic self, bringing that authentic self with all of your passion and empathy and extroversion and enthusiasm to your work and to your broader life. We are all thrilled that your passion for working with young children and the fruits of your community building labor have compelled you and Chris to stay here in Rhode Island for at least a couple more years to take a job in the Pediatric Partial Hospital Program. The children and families you care for, and all of us as your colleagues, will be the better for it. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. This is our year. Thanks. I'm graduating.
So, dear Jared, Mara, and baby Fiona, we are here at the end of a long, short journey, which, like everything in life, has been made up of wonderful and challenging events. As you know, Jared, and I forgot to insert this, I am in the outpatient department in the Varechia Clinic, and that's where our paths have crossed, both inpatient and outpatient, in your love for those who have autism and developmental disabilities. As I was thinking about what I wanted to highlight for this occasion, the notion of development came to mind. And then I reread your personal statement when you applied for the Child Fellowship, and lo and behold, you spoke of development throughout that personal statement. And I see our time together as a rich developmental trajectory. For those of you who don't know, Jared graduated from Rutgers University, summa cum laude, and attended Robert Wood Johnson Medical School through their combined BA MD program. In 2015, Jared came to Brown to do his psychiatry residency, knowing at the outset that he wanted to do a child fellowship. He has served on multiple committees to improve teaching for residents and medical students, and is a manuscript peer reviewer for the Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders. Jared, we first met when you came to me as a mentee through the Diversity Mentoring Program during your first year of residency. I had volunteered for several years in the program, but when your name came to me, I was so pleased and thought to myself, well, here is an enlightened young man to see that those with developmental disabilities contribute to diversity in our world. And we were off and running. We met many times during your residency, you and your wife, Mara, sharing your hopes and dreams for yourselves. Mara, with her kindness and vision for her own patients and families, only providing a richer context for your commitment to your families and patients. You and Mara, over these years, set down your roots in Providence more firmly. In the midst of your training, there was the sad loss of your mom, who I know would be so proud of you today. You have always spoken of your family as a source of strength and inspiration. And then, of course, the joyous expansion of your own family with baby Fiona. There she is, everyone, beautiful and clearly in complete command of her father. And I think it is important to note that the world of caring for those with developmental disabilities is something that is in your blood. Watching your brother Stephen, who had autism, grow and thrive with the help of family, educators, physicians, and psychologists has been an ongoing shaper of who you are and who you have become. Your experience has made you a compassionate clinician, knowing the anguish families experience and simultaneously the effectiveness of professionals who extend themselves to families. But you have not confined yourself to only one niche. You love doing psychotherapy, and the experience of getting to know patients over time to delve deeply into their lives and help them become who they want to be is precious to you. And in all this, your patients and families understand how committed you are to them and have not been shy in sharing that. So as you move to Butler Hospital to work in the Adolescent Partial Hospital Program and the outpatient department, you will continue to grow and thrive. You enjoy clinical research. You've had several publications on a variety of topics dealing with issues around teaching, patient care, and health systems issues. You are thoughtful in your work, and I am certain with the exceptional leadership of your mentors at Butler, your clinical research will come from you, and more clinical research will come from you and your colleagues. I'm sad that you will not be staying at Bradley, but it is a source of enormous pride that you join the ranks of many fine former trainees who have left the program and have dedicated themselves to treating children, adolescents, and adults with different ways of being in the world. We wish you all the best. You are done with the foundation of training, but you are starting your real training in the real world. You have family in Brown's Child Psychiatry program, and on behalf of all the faculty, I give you a virtual hug with heartfelt affection. Congratulations.
Yay, thank you. Oh my gosh.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Fiona says thank you too.
All right, congrats, Misha, you did it. For those that don't know me, I'm Justin Schleifer. I'm one of the outpatient child psychiatrists here at Brown and Bradley. And I've also been Dr. Parker's course supervisor for this past year. She is in fact the only course supervisee I've had in my 5 years as an attending. And this was an exception that was only made possible due to one of Dr. Parker's most effective and well-known assets, her tenacity. Now, anyone who knows Misha, knows that when she has something on her mind, get out of the way. No, I'm just kidding. But like a little bit, get out of the way. Because when she has something on her mind that she believes in, she will follow through to the end. And I'm not just talking about the fact that she somehow convinced me a year ago to agree to be her course supervisor when I had no time in my schedule to do so. No. I'm talking about the fact that she convinced me over 5 years ago as a medical student that she was going to be a child psychiatrist. Just a few months after meeting Misha, the medical student, she matched into the Brown General Psychiatry program and unsurprisingly turned out to be a phenomenal resident. A few quick and easy years later, and she was back in my office interviewing for a child psychiatry fellowship position here at Brown. Like I said, when Michelle Parker wants to get something done, little can slow her down. But we should pause here for a second, because if you haven't noticed, this person has so many different names. And if you're confused, well, you are not alone, as those involved in the training of Dr. Parker have all struggled to figure out just what to call her. I always thought her name was Michelle. Who's Misha? Wait a minute, did her last name change? Oh good, this one's easier to pronounce. So to start our year together of supervision, I had to finally hammer this out. What should I call you? Please tell me. To which she responded very agreeably, whatever you want, Michelle, Misha, it's up to you. Now, in psychiatry, we know the power of names. We explain a child's emotional and behavioral challenges with diagnoses and formulations. We teach children to name their anxiety so they can manage it. Psychotherapy itself can be distilled into the process of using language to make sense of our unnamed thoughts and feelings. So if I was going to get anywhere in supervising this Misha person, I was at minimum going to need to know her name. So I persisted and I asked, no, seriously, you got to tell me, what am I calling you? Fine, Misha, call me Misha. At first, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand the whole name change. For years, I had known, literally years, I'd known this person as Michelle. Why is she now Misha? I got the whole changing the last name thing for marriage, but this was kind of different. Over time, it began to make sense to me. Misha, I came to understand, is the name she uses with family and friends. Perhaps a reflection of her more vulnerable and honest self, while Michelle was her work name, maybe to convey something else. Perhaps I thought the confusion about names suggested an internal conflict in Misha. Should I be hard or should I be soft? Becoming a psychiatrist can be confusing. We are taught to care, but not too much. We're taught to convey intelligence when we sometimes feel anything but. We are taught to adhere to strict boundaries and yet to be flexible. It can feel like a world of contradictions, and yet Misha has evolved and learned how to find balance in those contradictions. Here at Brown, we have observed Dr. Parker's tenacity in everything she does. Her attention to detail in her clinical work, her conscientious follow-through in her administrative responsibilities as a chief resident, and her intense devotion to international travel and globetrotting, or what she would like to call conference time. We have also witnessed the tenderness of Misha, nurturing and caring for young children and their families, getting on the floor with them, not because she's supposed to, because she loves to, an unabashed Disney princess. We have watched her provide comfort for children experiencing unimaginable grief and loss, perhaps without quite knowing how a very young Misha Pruchniewski survived her own unimaginable grief for the loss of her father. In supervision, I've seen her beam with pride about the achievements of her patients. I've watched her laugh and cry about her patients. And on the occasional tough day, I've watched her own self-doubt and insecurity creep in, as it does to us all. And I would playfully ask, "Are you Misha-fying again?" And as if I wasn't even in the room, she would talk herself back together again in a matter of minutes, an amazing process of growth to behold. Misha, you have truly evolved into an exceptional child psychiatrist, one that knows how to talk and how to listen, when to lead and when to follow, when to be hard and when to be soft. Today, I join your friends, family, and your spouse, Justin, in congratulating you on your achievements. We here at Brown are so thrilled to now call you a colleague as you join us at Bradley Hospital. However, it is the countless patients and families that you will care for throughout your career that are truly the most fortunate. Congratulations.
I told you guys I'm gonna cry. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi, Mom. Oh, where's my diploma?
All right, I'm Brady Case. I work at the Pediatric Anxiety Research Center at Bradley. I have long known from professional training and personal experience that it is possible to worry about anything. And yet, Ingrid has taught me to worry about something new. I now know, because of Ingrid, that at any moment, I may not be living best life. As in, I may have irreparably lost just now, and in a few moments, and long ago, opportunities for best life. I get it that every decision, every act, even the aspiration itself to live best life, is haunted by the prospect of failure. Thank you, Ingrid, for dispelling my blissful ignorance and complacency. Now, I have noticed, and you may have too, that Ingrid does not seem weighed down by the threat of best life failure. Perhaps that is because Ingrid is a master at discerning best life. While I still struggle, Ingrid has, through her character and her work, provided examples of the distinction between mere life and best life that I have found helpful. I wanted to share some of these with you. Life is caring competently for 2 developmentally delayed girls and their overwhelmed mom in med clinic with your pleasant but digressive supervisor. Best life is noticing that one of the girls is mesmerized by the new stuffed penguin in your office and giving it to her and hearing later how she has slept with it for every night for the past year. Life is being open and non-judgmental towards imperfect people who suffer and whose company can feel punishing. Best life is finding a way to savor your time with these people and showing them you value the chance to be together. Life is dealing carefully and responsibly with a gluten allergy. Best life is an Indian feast, including rice, potatoes, lentil flour, and to hell with it, more carbs than spaghetti and pizza put together. Life is wiping your butt and worrying about toilet paper inventory in the time of COVID. Best life is the robotic bidet Ingrid thinks you should actually get because she used them all the time in Japan, and you deserve it for all your allegedly hard work, and you're a rich attending, so why not? Life is going for a walk. Best life is taking the dogs for a walk. Life is a fellow on the OCD partial rotation. Best life is Ingrid on the rotation and the program psychologist begging me, can we please keep her? Life is the delightful chance to work with and get to know Ingrid this year. best life is when she decides to stay with us a little longer. Ingrid, we are so excited you're giving us a chance. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Brady. That was awesome. And I just want to thank my family, Wendy, Stu, and Gordon. You guys I couldn't have made it through this without you. I love you.
So my name is Steve Sheinkopf. I'm a clinical psychologist at the Center for the Study of Children at Risk over at Women and Infants Hospital, and an occasional interloper over at Bradley Hospital as well. And I've had just such a distinct honor and pleasure to have supervised Danielle on her primarily research placement with me, both during her residency and then her child fellowship. And it's just been a great ride to have Danielle sort of in our family here. Danielle came to our program as a Morris, and she departs as a SIPSOC. And along the way, she's had such a wonderful impact, I know, on patients and colleagues alike. As I said, I've worked with Danielle primarily on her research experiences, and where she's made great contributions as part of our Reichardt autism research efforts. And here she's been able to think really deeply and clearly about the complexities related to autism and developmental disabilities. She's taken on these complexities in publications. She's contributed to, and somehow she's found the time to write and receive 2 grants to pursue her research while here at Brown, which is just a great accomplishment. How did she manage that? Well, she finds ways to find balance. She balances the needs of her patients, her research, and her professional life, her family, including her husband and new baby, and dogs at home, and somehow she finds the time to run the occasional half marathon. Danielle thrives when she's faced with complexity, and this makes sense because I know she's a really gifted clinician. I know this both from the rave reviews that I hear from clinical faculty, and also just from the amazing clinical insights that she brings to her research activities as well. It's been such a pleasure to get to know Danielle and her family over the years. She and her husband Brandon started out with a couple of dogs. They've now graduated to becoming wonderful parents of Ripley, who's there, I see, who's just a lovely and happy little one. Ripley, by the way, should say has been the star participant in the annual Halloween event at our center at Women and Infants Hospital, stealing the show from other staff members who take their costumes maybe a bit too seriously. Danielle has a deep interest in individuals with autism and developmental disabilities. Her clinical skills allow her to make the most of the most challenging of patients, and to do so with a level of thoughtfulness, compassion, and a healthy dose of good judgment. Sad for us, but wonderful for Maine, Danielle and her family will be venturing to vacation land, where she'll be taking on a clinical and clinical research position in autism spectrum disorders at Maine Medical Center. I'm told, Danielle, that you like the cold, so I'm sure that's a good fit. And I also look forward to continued collaborations with you over the years. So this month is not a time for goodbyes. It's a time for, rather to say, see you soon. And I raise a glass and thank, just well done, congratulations, and best wishes on a wonderful career moving forward.
Thank you so much, Steve. And then thank you to my family too, watching and here.
Hi, everyone. I'm trying to find Kelly. Hey, so I'm Mirabel Matari. I'm a child psychiatrist here on Celia 6. It's an integrated care unit, or known also as MedPsych unit, inpatient. I was asked to write something about Kelly, actually by Kelly herself. And the way she did it was very particular to her. She texted me, "Can we please talk?" I thought there was an emergency. Of course, with my inpatient psychiatry mindset, I think that way. And also, there was no emergency at all. Kelly just was being herself, an appropriate and polite person, thorough, wanted to ask me if I could talk about her at graduation, and wanting to give me more details about it. This is how Kelly is, old school in some ways, polite, and wanting to do things the right way. Kelly is pretty impressive. During her residency at Harvard, along with psychiatry residency training program, Kelly got accepted into the sole position of the community track and worked on early identification and intervention for psychosis. She also was chief resident in her 4th year and has had multiple leadership roles. Without going into too many details about what Kelly has done, I'm interested in talking more about how she has done them. I think Kellyism is something that exists. I'll talk more about it from my perspective. So Kellyism is defined as, 1, perfectionism that works mostly in one's favor. For example, notes that are detailed and also targeted to the issue at hand, reflecting her intelligence and her great work. 2, dedication to her family, of course, including her baby Elle, who, by the way, I got the chance to meet and is so lovely. Maybe we'll see her a bit soon. As well as her dedication to her work. The first time I met Kelly was when she was on Celia 6. She was working every day despite feeling nauseous due to her pregnancy. She would continue working as if nothing's happening and was very focused on making everything work. 3, a high ability to be playful and teasing. Kelly has developed this skill more and more with her patients, which has made her relationships even more therapeutic. Last but not least, taking the road less traveled, Kelly is going back to Michigan, where the rest of her family is. After multiple negotiations, she was able to refuse both academic jobs, which were the only available academic positions, because they did not suit her needs as well as her family needs. And to tell you the truth, I'm glad she did. She will be working as a telepsychiatrist and is working with another psychiatrist to start their own private practice. Good luck, Kelly.
Thank you, Paloma.
Hi, I'm Sybil Alden. I'm one of the child psychiatrists over at Bradley, still here. And I have the honor of introducing Dr. Raj. So Dr. Raj is the kind of person whose composure, his easygoing nature, how humble he is can distract you from realizing how much he's accomplished. Learning about Dr. Raj's accomplishments over the last 5 years at Brown and being chosen to mentor him through his opening of the Aubin Center Bridge Clinic has left me sort of at a loss for words. And those of you who know me will realize that's sort of an unusual thing. I've often asked myself, why would Dr. Raj want me to supervise him? Why would I be the one chosen to speak for him at graduation? And I can't really answer that. But what I can tell you is that being chosen to do that has made me more sure of myself and proud of the work that I do. Dr. Raj has similar impacts and positive impacts on all the people he meets. He, given his modesty, he often finds like his impact on people surprising, but it's really no surprise to those of us who've had the pleasure to work alongside him. Youth, families, young adults, they often open up to Dr. Raj about events that they've never spoken to anyone about over years. Nurses, social workers, medical students, doctors, floor staff, even of the most surly, will remember Dr. Raj and say, yep, he's the greatest whenever I say I'm going to meet up with him. Dr. Raj's passion for work with trauma survivors has been brewing over the last 8 years, and he came about a triple board residency and program pretty naturally, given all of his early experience in med school. And I think it's easy to say that all of his accomplishments since he's been in residency have exceeded even our program director's expectations. So to give a sort of example or a summary of a few, I can't actually go over them or I will exceed the 5 minutes limit. But Dr. Raj's CV alone is 9 pages. I think mine is maybe 4. So a few of them I can tell you. He's had over 7 awards, starting with a hospital-wide recognition at Hasbro at the beginning of his training, and most recently being given a honorary internist award by the Adult Medicine Service at Rhode Island Hospital, which is one of the only services he's actually not trained in. He's had scholarships, ICAP awards, Excellence in Teaching awards. He's done 2 national presentations, one of which there were 3,000 people in the audience. And when you watch the introduction, the pediatrician who introduces him, who's quite well known, refers to himself as being on stage for the first time in 34 years after his graduation from med school, at which point Dr. Raj had been out of medical school for 4 years. He has done 4 grand round presentations, 2 of them out of state. He has given over 20 lectures with topics ranging from his specialty in trauma to strep throat to the rationale for vaccines. Over his 5 publications, 5 poster presentations, 2 interviews, a book chapter review, a ton of leadership activities. I can't even go through all of them. Medical activities, and then thrown in for good measure, my favorite, the opening of the Aubin Center Bridge Clinic, where Dr. Raj thought out and then saw to creation a clinic for some of our most vulnerable youth. And thanks to his hard work, this clinic will be ongoing towards the future. So to sort of sum it up, I can say, I really believe that because Dr. Raj is going to go into a career working with abused children, our entire society will benefit. People's ability to recognize these kids, to treat these kids will improve. And when my children ask me, or patients may ask me, well, how can one person may really make a difference? I will be able to tell them the story of Anish Raj. So with that, I thank you. Congratulations.
I don't know what to say, but seriously, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for all the love and support over the years. Thank you, Dr. Alden.
Toast to all you guys at midpoint. We have a little more to go, but we're having, Elizabeth and I are having some beverages in our office here. So it's my great pleasure to present Dr. Corky Taylor as one of our stellar graduates of the Triple Board program, and I love her slide, their doggy. She's a graduate of the Albert Einstein College of Medicine and the University of Washington, where she was a double major in neurobiology and psychology with distinction. One of the real joys of being a Triple Board program director is that our residents are with us for 5 years. One of the real challenges is that they're spread around our clinical system for a lot of that time. So we don't always get to see them much early on. But I've had the good pleasure of working with Courtney over the last 2 or 3 years. First, in a ACAP lifelong learning committee that I also was new to the committee, and I didn't actually let her know that we would do a ton of work and then eat in the basement of a hotel while we're doing some more work, and do that for 2 trips a year to Washington, D.C. So sorry about that, Courtney. But you were an excellent contributor to it. I also had the pleasure working with her in our my psychopharm clinic this past year. And I also looked at, I always like to look at the personal statements of triple boarders, particularly to see how things have evolved over 5 or 6 years. And actually with Courtney, there's actually quite a few threads that I want to go through. First, the threads are empathy, curiosity, advocacy, and courage and resilience. Courtney has a natural ability to connect with even the most resistant patients, and this has been even more evident in the past few months when trying to engage with very challenging and young patients through Zoom. She has an easy and approachable style with patients that convey a genuine interest and an absence of any judgment. I also remember we had a medical student who had more colorful hair than I'm used to as a conservative Montanan, and Courtney again showed me the way and just accepting them where they are. I think her time as a high school cheerleading coach provided her with some of the critical insight into teen minds. It's not surprising that she's been so successful with patients struggling with their weight in the Hasbro Obesity Clinic and patients with chronic medical concerns through her work with the TALC program, which is the Adolescent Leadership Council that she's co-led for the last 5 years. Courtney's curiosity has taken many forms, especially the desire to experience learning in different environments. She spoke of her interest in global health about 6 years ago, and she followed through on many of those dreams. In fact, this year, there were times when I thought of the book, Where in the World is Waldo? And I would slip and think, where in the world is Courtney? In the last 10 months, Courtney has spent time in the far north in Burlington, Vermont, learning about specialized approach to assessment of families. Then she was in Kauai, Hawaii, learning from one of our previous triple board graduates about community health on an island population greatly afflicted by substance abuse and other social challenges. This was quickly followed by a month-long stay in Eldoret, Kenya, where she was able to be focused on another of her early themes, that of education. She and her colleagues provided needed seminars in child and adolescent psychiatry to the local clinicians who work with bare bones resources in that country. These experiences, I know, have informed Courtney's physician identity. Another theme that I pulled from her early vision of her professional life is that of advocacy. Courtney has developed and taught yoga and mindfulness class to teens in the juvenile detention center in Rhode Island. She also has been steadfast in her push for consistent changes to training in pediatric psychiatry and child psychiatry through her work on wellness and well-being in residency. She had a presentation in Dallas at a prestigious national meeting in March of this year, where she received accolades for her work on a specialized group focusing on wellness for triple boarders at all levels. I actually recall that meeting very fondly, as it was attended by Courtney, Michelle, and Kristen, who also presented. My birthday always occurs during this training directors meeting, and we were joined on that day along with Courtney's mom and one of Courtney's family friends for dinner. Actually, it was at George W. and Laura Bush's favorite restaurant. The food was excellent. The seating was at a classroom desk with autographs by GW, which was quite cool. And the conversation was lively. It definitely elevated my well-being, and it's become one of my most memorable birthdays. It was soon after that meeting that other traits that Courtney exemplifies emerged, that of courage and resilience. And in the last few months, I think she has shown those. Courtney managed to continue her work with patients and ensured that they all received the care that they needed. She also managed to remain fully engaged in learning and teaching, all while adapting to working remotely. This all while holding emotions of grief and loss. Courtney will be returning to her native Vancouver, Washington, and that community is very fortunate to have her. Courtney, I look forward to staying in touch and hearing about all of your adventures that I'm sure you'll have over the next few years. Congratulations and best wishes to you and your family.
Yay, Courtney.
Thanks, Dr. Hunt. Thanks, Dr. Al. That was a great speech.
Claire, it's your turn. Claire, congratulations to you. And thank you for all that you have given me, the Triple Board Program, Brown University, and the children and families of Rhode Island. In honor of you, 8-year-old Isabel has written an acrostic poem for tonight. Claire is creative. She cares deeply. Claire and I first met in September of 2011. She attended our introductory Henrietta Leonard Medical Student Fellowship in Child Psychiatry Interest Group meeting, and the checkbox sign-up form indicated she was a first-year medical student, that she maybe had access to a car, and that she was interested in the following topics: trauma effects on development, post-institutionalized kids, international detention, and residential. But that wasn't enough. She turned over the paper and filled it with other ideas, which she came up to share with me after the meeting. 4 months later, in January of 2012, I sent this email. Dear Claire, sorry it's taken so long to make it official, but I wanted to let you know, based on your interest and initial requests, that I have assigned you to me as your Klingenstein Program faculty mentor. That was one of the best things I've ever done. From that first conversation, I feel so fortunate that Claire has become more and more like family to me. And it became clear how she became someone who cares so deeply when I met her actual family. who you can see here on this slide, her parents and her loving sister, 4 years later at her medical school graduation, when Claire won not only the Christopher Benedict Child Psychiatry Award, but also the Leonard Toe Humanism and Medicine Award. I'm so glad your family is here with us tonight. Claire's patients recognize this and they connect instantly, intensely, and a bit indefinitely. Her 2 adult therapy patients who will be continuing treatment with her, the little boy with autism who met her once in the hospital and then followed her through a bunch of different hospitals and then made his mom drive up here from New York City to continue treatment with her. And the incarcerated adolescents who periodically attempt to friend her on Facebook whenever they get out of the training school. Claire cares deeply for her family, for her patients, for her colleagues, for her students, and for her mentors. She continuously comes up with creative ways to show us this, and we love her for it. Claire is loyal. Claire is now completing the 13-year plan here at Brown. After obtaining her undergrad degree in developmental studies, she stayed here for medical school and fortunately also for the triple board program. And how lucky am I that Claire has stuck with it and with me for all this time. From that first mentorship assignment through many adventures in clinical care, program development, advocacy conferences, meetings, and 2 full years as her official core supervisor, Claire, you've taught me way more than I could ever teach you. Going back to our early days in 2012, Claire replied to my email. I'm really excited to get to work with you this semester. I'm interested in visiting the training school in Harmony Hill and just talking with you more. I would also love to talk with you about medication and foster care. Just be warned that once I get talking about adoption and foster care, it is sometimes hard to get me to stop. Claire is an amazing advocate. You were right. You have not stopped talking about these issues and trying to make them better for children here in Rhode Island. Thank you for your help with the DCYF Policy Committee, for your initiative as the inaugural medical student representative to the Rhode Island Council for Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. You advocate for your patients on a daily basis for program improvement and development on every rotation, for your colleagues and junior residents right up until these last weeks of training. How exciting when you won the Public Policy Fellowship Award this year through the ACAP and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. Our new Hope for Justice Clinic, or whatever name we end up coming up with, is largely thanks to you and your energy and your creativity. Claire is intelligent and inspiring. Her personal statement started with the line, "It was an exorcism that set me on the path toward child psychiatry." An exorcism. Her compassion and courage have led her to seek out experiences in Uganda, working with former child soldiers, in Virginia, working with 2 little boys with attachment disorders and autism, and more recently with patients and families facing psychosocial stressors such as incarceration, child abuse, and homelessness. Claire is smart, thoughtful, and compassionate, with a particular gift for making everyone around her want to be better and do better. Claire is really funny. That was Isabel's. How often has Claire's bright, infectious, and perfectly timed laughter lightened the mood, made someone feel at ease, or helped a group move past a difficult conversation? Claire is educated, and more importantly, an educator. Claire has won numerous teaching awards through the medical school already before even joining our faculty. She has experience with curriculum development from sex ed groups at the training school, an ethics course for preclinical medical students, an integration seminar for clinical students, an introduction to psychiatry experience for her junior residents. When she followed several nationally known speakers at an ACAP conference a couple of years ago with the wrap-up session of a clinical perspective about aggression, Claire's was by far the best presentation. So Claire, as you wrap up your formal years of training, I know you will go on to great things in your new roles as a psychiatrist at Thunder Mist Health Center, providing integrated and primary psychiatric services to adults and children, as well as a faculty member of the Brown Department of Psychiatry and Human Behavior and the Department of Pediatrics. You will continue to provide exceptional patient care, to teach others the art of medicine, to lead systemic change and transformation, and to inspire others to do better and to be better. I would like to end with a quote from the children's author, Jason Reynolds, that he shared last week in a Kidlit Rally for Black Lives. Claire, this is what I wish for you and what I know you will continue to inspire others to do. Crawl towards judgment, sprint toward understanding. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your passion, and your pursuit of understanding with all of us. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, thank you for everything you've done for me over the years. I've learned so much from you.
All right. Hear me? Great. Good afternoon. I am Liz Wheeler, and I'm here to honor Veronica Alexander, a fellow triple boarder. I'm currently in private practice doing outpatient psychotherapy as a psychiatrist, an unusual thing these days, but very much enjoying it after 13 years at Bradley, where I think I had a lovely career there as well. I have been Veronica's psychotherapy supervisor this year, but as we discovered, our lives overlapped much earlier. The world can be quite small in a lovely way sometimes. I myself had graduated from Brown, the college, as well as medical school and the triple board program. So Veronica and I already had a history at Brown in common. You see, after attending Oberlin as an undergraduate, Veronica herself graduated from medical school at Brown, then went to Tulane for the first several years of triple board training and circled back to Brown with her husband and young son to finish her triple board training with us. And we are very glad she did. But we also have another common history. Veronica comes from New Orleans, and in fact, so does my family. And her parents lived just a few blocks from my cousins and the house where my mother was born 100 years ago. So I felt an instant kinship with her for those reasons, Brown, triple board, and New Orleans. But what is most remarkable to me about Veronica, beyond the overt but meaningful coincidences of geography, is her deep structure, her natural ability to form connection, and that I have discovered more and more as I have known her. Veronica moved back to Rhode Island last summer, and we started supervision in September, but she sure hit the ground running. You see, Veronica arrives, she shows up, she brings her full self. She does that in supervision and with patients and in life. She is the real deal. She is authentic and available. She cares deeply about her family, her friends, and her work. She is eager to learn and open to engaging fully in the exchange. Veronica is curious, willing to consider the new, the alternative views and strategies. She is brave, willing to try things, experiment, be uncomfortable, if it is in the best interest of treatment and of her role as healer. And she is humble, willing to admit non-knowing and open to seeking consultation from peers and supervisors. She is also generous, seeing the gifts and vulnerabilities in others, willing to see where patients and families bring strengths or fall short, and have the hope and determination to meet them where they are, guiding them toward healing and strength. She brings her humanity, a full complement of emotions, life experiences, and observations, and is eager to weave that into her expertise as a complete psychiatrist, therapist, as well as scientist. These qualities have made supervision with Veronica a pleasure, a joy. It has made the exchange between supervisor and fellow rich, as so much is available for us to share and better understand as we look at her experiences with patients, the patients themselves, and their families. Veronica has also made it easier for me to share what wisdom I have gathered so far, the art of psychiatry, as well as teaching the science of it, the techniques, and the know-how. Of course, we hope and select for trainees and colleagues like Veronica with strong intellectual capacities, including insight and judgment, but also a rich array of personal strengths. The awareness and development of all of these dimensions are encouraged during fellowship training, but some fellows are more available to the process of weaving personal traits and professional skills that makes for the highest level of psychotherapy training. Veronica has showed up for fellowship training at this high level of engagement. That is very much to her credit and a reflection of her gifts. And it bodes well for Veronica's future career as a psychiatrist, for her ongoing capacity to develop and grow as a fully integrated human being, to be truly present to her patients and to have meaningful therapeutic alliances and productive experiences as a clinical leader, teacher, and healer. The old saying, orators are made, poets are born, applies here, I think. Veronica was born with a poetry of authenticity and presence, and we at Brown, both in the medical school and the triple board fellowship, as well as those at Tulane, have seen her become a skilled tactician and decision maker as well. We are fortunate that fate brought Veronica back to Brown to complete her triple board training here, and we know that her future colleagues and patients will be enriched by her many gifts. Veronica indeed showed up, and we salute her now with our thanks and applause. Well done, and all our best wishes, Veronica, both for a rewarding career in medicine, filled with healing and compassion, as well as the love of family and the fellowship of good friends. So as we say in New Orleans, laissez le bon temps rouler. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wheeler. My time with you has meant so much to me. And I also want to say thank you to my wonderful family.
Hey. That's great. Aw.
I'm unmuting myself. So I think we're doing this part now. Yeah, we are. Okay.
You can do it.
Okay, great. Okay. So as the chiefs, we just wanted to, we wish we could be with you, Dr. L, because we'd be hugging you and we'd be tearsing together.
Tearsing.
And we'd be saying congratulations to your face, and we can't. So instead, we did the next best thing with the help of my husband over here. And we put together this little video for you. So here's a little personal send off for you. We love you. Good luck and congratulations. And thank you for everything.
Thank you, guys.
Mwah.
Hey, Dr. Lowenhaupt, on behalf of the class of 2020, as well as all of the child psych fellows and triple boarders and adult psychiatry residents and medical students that you have taught and mentored over the years, we just want to say thank you and congratulations. And I just personally want to thank you for being such a trailblazer for women in our field and an excellent role model for leaders in medical education. And on a lighter note, it's thanks to you that I'm obsessed with dilly beans. I can't wait to just meet up with you again when things are back to normal at 7 Stars or Olga's and hear about all the amazing things that you're going to accomplish on your new endeavor. So without further ado, a couple of my friends also wanted to say thanks. Best wishes and good luck.
Thank you, Dr. L.
Thank you, Dr. L.
Thank you, Dr. Lowenhaupt.
Thank you so much for everything, Dr. L.
Thank you, Dr. Lowenhaupt, for everything you've done for our program. It certainly wouldn't be what it is today without you.
Thank you for everything, Dr. L. We're really going to miss you.
Thank you, Dr. L.
Hi, Dr. L. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for us over the past 2 years when I've been a fellow, and also for so long before that. I remember the first time working with you when I was in residency doing my forensic child rotation, and you were such a good mentor, and I remember you gave me this book and you really helped me. You helped it be very clear for me in my decision to go into child psychiatry, and I really, really appreciate that, and I will always remember that. Thank you.
Your passion, your drive, your commitment, they're such an inspiration to all of us, and we really appreciate the great lengths that you go to for us, for children, for families. So thank you, Dr. Al.
Dr. Lowenhaupt, thank you very, very much for your wonderful supervision, teaching, help, and support this year. Really, really appreciate them. Thank you.
Congratulations on the next adventure, Dr. Lowenhaupt, and thank you so much for all the love and support over the years. It's truly appreciated more than you'll ever know. Cannot wait to hear how you have conquered the next frontier of goat yoga.
Hi, Dr. L. I just wanted to thank you for your many years of work and dedication as Associate Program Director for Child Psychiatry and for Triple Board. Over the past 4 years, your guidance and support have been incredibly valuable to me, and I'm very grateful for everything that you've done for us. I know you'll make us all very proud in your future work in child welfare and juvenile justice. Thank you so much, and we look forward to our ongoing work with you moving forward.
Well, congratulations on your new position. We're all sad to see you go, but know you're going on to bigger and better things. I really appreciate all your teaching, time, and support over the past couple of years, from my second year in residency, going to the training school and working with you there, to my first year in fellowship. It's been really special getting to work with you, and I wish you all the luck moving forward. Be safe.
Thank you, Dr. L, for all of the hard work that you invested in our educational experience. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed getting to know you, and I hope that we'll get to work together at some point again in the future. And I wish you the best of luck in this new phase of your career.
Thank you, Dr. Lowenhop, for all your work as our program director. I can't even begin to put into words how much it meant to me, and I can't wait to keep working with you.
Thank you, Dr. L. Thank you so much for the last 9/5 years.
We're so glad to be graduating at the same time as you because you'll always be our program director. Love you.
Love you.
Thank you all. You're amazing. I very intentionally am graduating with all of you because you're a very special class and you'll always be in my heart. So thank you.
So just a couple more comments. First of all, Elizabeth isn't leaving our division, so she'll continue to be a senior part of our team. And we do look forward to the new directions that she takes herself in. At this point, for all of the panelists, all of the graduates, and all your families, we have a virtual cocktail hour that you got the link to. And unless we can leave this open, if you want to unmute yourself, if you have one or two more things you want to say, we can do that now. Otherwise, we can move to the virtual cocktail hour. Anybody else want to add any comments?
We're back. Hi. Dr. L, we just also wanted to say thank you so much for your mentorship as chiefs. I mean, we couldn't have done without you, and Dr. Hunt, but as our leading lady, we just really appreciate you so much.
Yeah, this was an intense year and we learned so much and we accomplished so much. And I think a big reason that, both of us are staying in Rhode Island and specifically at Bradley's because of everything that we learned from you guys and the experience that you guys allowed us to have and made possible. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing your home. Family. Thank you for having us on a Saturday to do schedules and to listening us with our wellness initiatives. Like, we're just really, really grateful. So thank you. We'll stop talking now.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Anyone else is welcome to mention a couple things, just not about me. And you can otherwise just turn on your cameras to wave goodbye to the group.
Yeah, the virtual cocktail hour will allow us to meet some of the parents and family. There'll be breakouts, so please join. Toast.
Thank you all for being here tonight.
Toast to you guys. Okay. So Hannah, I think we'll end there and move to the virtual cocktail hour.